Coach, opening statement ahead of this week's games against JMU and Georgia Southern.
Really, really big, tough week for us. It was, again, beyond thankful for the crowd that we had last game. Just kind of having some time to reflect on that and how awesome of an experience that was for our student athletes and for me and for I had a lot of family here and for them to be able to say, wow, like, look what this is becoming. Just beyond thankful for everyone who came out. I think that means a lot to us, and it gives us some momentum and some support going into a really, really hard road stretch.
JMU #1 in scoring defense. Second time recently you faced a team like that. Does that take that as a challenge?
Yeah, they're big. They're really big, so it's going to be hard for us to score the way we normally like to score, and so we obviously haven't practiced yet, but try to put some stuff in and feel it out and make sure we're making the right reads. And I mean, it's just going to be a tough game on both ends of the ball.
Anything you weren't happy with as you look back at everything? Anything that you're still not there yet?
I think we could clean a lot of stuff up. I'm a coach, right? This is what we look for. We got beat up the sideline a lot in our press. Took some bad shots towards the end of the Coastal game. Really liked our second half versus ODU, and so just really continuing to put 4 quarters together and just playing hard no matter what the score is. I think we do a really good job of playing hard when the score is not in our favor, but just continuing to do that when the score is in our favor is something we need to improve on, and obviously foul shots.
Talked about leadership some last week and how that kind of helped with some of those results. Is that good to see forming heading into a week when you're going to be really tested?
Absolutely, and I think if the leadership is not here today in film and in practice, we are going to have a long week. But I think it will be. I think that they are excited for the challenge. I think they're going to be fired up, and I think that our seniors and players who have been there before are really going to step up and have a sense of urgency in practice today.
Big physical teams tend to lead to more fouls being called, which we've seen a lot lately. Interrupts your flow. Is that frustrating?
It is frustrating, but it's part of the game, until they have AI officials or robot officials. It is what it is, and it's part of the game. And if the ref blows the whistle, it's a foul. And so it's just something we have to do a better job of just adjusting to. Hey, this is how they're calling it. We have to see that. We have to adjust.
If they go big, though, does that help you guys with your pace? I mean, is that also advantageous to you a little bit?
Yeah, they play a lot of players, so they're a little bit unique. I mean, they go about 10, 11 deep, and their minutes are about like our minutes. So if they were big and played 7 people, I would feel pretty confident going in, but they get into their bench and they sub, where we sub about 2, they sub about every 5 minutes, and they get new bodies in there. And so I do think we really need to make it look like our practice as far as we're going to be aggressive and kind of make them uncomfortable.
Along those same lines, do you remember a point in your coaching career when you started to kind of adopt this platoon, almost line change system that works so well for you? At Glenville and here too. You know how you mass substitute?
Mm-hmm.
But do you remember when you started?
I've always done that
Just from
the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yep, and I've always tried to get away from it because I don't necessarily like it. And when we do that, it's not the same. There's not a same sense of urgency, and that was a big part of our problem early on. And so maybe you have leads and you don't shoot well in the fourth quarter because you don't have legs. It just doesn't really look the same. It's really hard to get people to play like it's the last minute of a tie ball game for 40 minutes when they're out there for longer than that.
How do you get kids to buy into a kid who I want to be on the court for 40 minutes? How do you get a kid to buy into it?
You won. Winning helps, I guess, because it took us a really long time to get there with this group. But you're going to get, if you look at the numbers and you look at the analytics, you're going to get more shots, more possessions in our style of play than you would anyone else's style of play. And so if you look at people's numbers, they've gone up. And you have more opportunities for rebounds, assists, steals, and points because we're going to get almost, I don't know, we'll probably get 20 more shots up than our opponent.
Does that resonate with some of the younger players too, like whatever Meredith did the other day with 20 and 23 or whatever? They get their opportunities in some sense, right?
Yeah, you get your opportunities, and we're going to trust you, and you're going to be in there, and it can be anyone's night to step up. And so I think that's something that's really unique about it is that you can do a lot with the time that you have, and you can always earn yourself more because we do switch it up a little bit towards the end of the right before the media, right before halftime, all of that. And so, like, you just have a lot of time. And everyone says, like, oh, they're going to cool off. No, we don't ever let them cool off, right? We're going to stay hot the whole time, and that's why we get them right back in.
You look back to when you took this team on the road for the first time this year and getting ready to do that again. How much more confident are you in this team, and just how much have you seen them grow over that time?
Yeah, they've grown a lot. I mean, we're not even the same team that we were in November. And when I look at our stats and I look at our numbers, I only look at the conference-only stats. Because if you look at the overall stats, it's not a true reflection of what our team actually is. And so, I mean, it's night and day. We were shooting the ball better. We're guarding the ball better. I mean, everything is just an improvement. And so it's just, I knew it would take time, and I'm really, really proud of them because they didn't have to continue to stick with it. They could have just done what everyone does. And, oh, I'm going to get in the portal. I'm going to go somewhere else. That's the new reality in sports. And they didn't. They stuck with it. They bought in. They believed in it. They believed in each other. And I still think our ceiling is pretty high.
I think back to one of the things you said pretty early on in the season about how a lot of your losses have either come in November or March. It seemed like you kind of believed that the team would take the turn that it has.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it takes time. It takes time for us to figure out who to play, when to play them, who to play them with. It takes time for them to understand how to play at that pace. And so there were a couple dark days where I did not know if we would get here. But for the most part, if I could have predicted the preseason versus the conference, this is the pattern I thought it would take.
You've obviously supplemented the roster very well with players. You've always been complimentary of what you inherited. Did you like what you saw?
Yeah, I mean, I chose them. They didn't choose me. And so that's what makes this group unique and will always be unique, is that I knew what I was getting. I had watched them play, had been a fan of theirs, did my homework before I took the job, and I wouldn't have taken the job if I didn't think I could win with the current roster. And so I saw what they had, and I said, yep, I want to do that with them.
One of the things that really impressed me last week is the fact you lose Mo, not only a post presence, but a leader, rebounding, you're +9 in both games, and it seemed like the communication never faltered throughout both. Does that kind of speak to the process? I don't know if they'd have done that 2 months ago.
Yeah, no, it just speaks to how tough they've gotten, and how resilient they are, and how, we'll be down 18-0 and they won't blink, and when we'll drop a player or someone will get in foul trouble and they won't blink, and that makes my job a lot easier.
How is Mo?
She's okay.
I kind of looked all through the stats last week before you, and saw that Abby's in the top 10 of just about everything. My guess is you wouldn't trade her for a player in the league. She's been phenomenal for you, rebounding and everything.
Yeah, for somebody who's 5'5" and goes and gets rebounds like that, it just says how hard she plays and how badly she wants it, right? And there's nothing that you can't place a value on that, of her just determination and will to do what's needed.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.